So hello, welcome back to a little bit of Suzerain. So, the economy is in a danger zone, okay? Like, it doesn't look great, but we're at the red line. And now being at the red line is better than we were earlier, which was under it. As long as we can stay, like, as long as we can stay in danger, it's okay. Like, if you're getting stalked by, like, a cheetah, as long as a cheetah doesn't attack you, you're okay. Okay, but you're still in danger. It's an important thing to note. Going on in the news today, thousands of protests over the governor of Sordland, which I think is what we read. I think that's the last thing we read at the end of the last session, so we're not going to read it again. But we have talks with Frens Ricter on the upcoming vote. In preparation for the new constitution, we're nearly complete. Soon we were going to propose it to the Grand National Assembly, a huge step for our administration. But we desperately needed more support, and that's why I've invited Frens Ricter to chat about the upcoming vote. He and his party held a key to our success. We met in the presidential office at the end of the day. He arrived in his signature navy blue suit and handed me a box of famous Circassian chocolates before sitting down on the couch. It's good to have you here, Mr. Ricter. Likewise, it's nice to finally have some time to talk. He took a folder from his briefcase and flipped it open. I could see the scribbles he had made in the margins on my draft proposal. I have to say, I'm surprised by this proposal you prepared for the new constitution. I really do not understand your reasoning behind some of the changes. Okay, I mean, what parts do you not understand? Don't get me wrong, I like your draft, as I've already stated. I'm just shocked that you listened to our demands. Decreasing the electoral threshold, that's more than we hoped for. How does the USP feel about that, Mr. President? Is this political suicide, or did you actually manage to get the party behind your changes? It's not political suicide. I'm pretty sure the party's behind me, at least right now. Mrs. Tory didn't seem to be extremely enthusiastic about the new constitution. Are you sure you have all the votes that you need? I believe that the Chief Justice has her ear, and the Old Guard is doing the best to make sure that you fail. Are you aware if the Old Guard has been reaching out to even PFJP members? I hope you're doing something to contain this mess. Who would have thought? Okay. My hands are tied. So you're saying the PFJP can be bought? What? No. I'm saying the circumstances might be stacked against you without your knowledge. That's it. But even if the changes pass the Assembly, how are you going to get past such an anti-soulless proposal past the Supreme Court? I mean, care more about money. We're united together. Look, being united doesn't matter here. But you know, you connection on the inside. I'm going to handle that. Oh? Is Mrs. Edmonds one of them? She assured me that she's a lock. Miss Edmonds, she is my sort of jurist, youngest person to serve, yada yada yada. Look, it's confidential information, okay, Mr. Ricter? But I'll be truthful. Not yet, but we're working on it. You can't afford to fail this. I hope that you'll succeed, Mr. Rayne. I respect what you're doing inside the USP. I'll do my best to flip the Supreme Court as well. You can count on the PFJP's votes. I just want you to promise that you will give us proper credit and finally do something about the unbalanced representation of our party on the state television. For decades, your party has been doing whatever it could to stay in power, while keeping the PFJP silenced. If we're on the same side, I expect you to finally acknowledge all the wrongs that have been done, and act against the soulless state apparatus in full force. I can't deny my party's disreputable actions. I respect your honesty, Mr. President, and I hope that I can rely on you. In the upcoming vote, we expect the USP to rally behind your proposal. I can assure you, you'll have the PFJP's full support. I mean, I'm happy for your cooperate with you, Mr. Ricter. Likewise, Mr. Rayne. Was there anything else? So Mr. Ricter of an opposing party. He's like, you know what? You're doing great work here, Mr. Rayne. We love you. The leader of the progressive wing of my own party tells me to go fuck myself. How is this fair? How is this fair? I should be part of the opposition, really. You know what? Before you leave, I like to address a few things that I've heard about you. What did your progressives tell you? He told me, basically, because I don't even remember what he wanted to change. He wanted something changed, and I said, we can't really do that. So he said that the progressives might not vote for the reform. So I guess it doesn't go far enough. Assholes. Okay, a few things I want to talk about you. Student intelligence, you made a deal with Arcasia. I'm not... Okay, I'm going to say, do you have any sort of secret partnership with President Dwight Walker? Rumors about his influence on you. I'm trying to think, what's a better answer? I'm kind of leaning towards one, because it's more like hard facts. But, you know, I've received intelligence that you made a deal with Arcasia, and that you've tried covering your tracks. What do you have to say about that? Oh, did it come to that after all? Well, I will enlighten you about my relationship with Arcasia. As you know, the downfall of President Alfonso was abrupt. He was the only progressive hope we had in the USB. Our brief alliance with him accomplished great things, but we ran into a very concerning revelation. In our last meeting before the USP abandoned him, President Alfonso said that Sol was not gone and still pulled the strings behind his back. He was suspicious about a conspiracy against his reformist agenda, and he feared everything would collapse around him. And it did. Afterwards, the party voted you in, and I don't think that's a coincidence, Mr. Rayne. Okay. So what are you trying to say? Say it out loud. I'm trying to say that everything leading up to the one second. Everything leading up to the 1953 election was orchestrated. Push my chair forward by the old guard. After realizing the true extent of the soulless deep state's influence, he looked down for a second and continued. We were in this together, so I'll be honest with you. I lost hope that Sordland could ever achieve liberties and democracy that I've been working so hard to as long as soulism was still alive and well. So I decided to act. I hope you didn't do anything to compromise our country. Of course not. I was contacted by an Arcasian senator and one of Arcasia's biggest tycoons. I decided to agree to their meeting in hopes of receiving support. Okay, you just keep listening. I flew to Arcasia and eventually met with President Walker. He offered political and economic support for me and my party, asking us to lead Sordland into a democratic sphere and become a member of the ATO. But the exploitative conditions he was demanding would have been crippling effects on our economy. I told him that I was only there to increase economic cooperation and nothing else. I did not get their support, nor did I do anything illegal. To this day, I feel ashamed that I've gone to the feet of Arcasia like that. But at least I managed to stop myself from becoming the very thing that I have been fighting against. You know what? I'm grateful. I'll believe it for now, because right now we're on the same side. You know, allies in desperate times. Thanks for telling me taking it so well. You've always been honest with one another. You have the authority to investigate this and potentially prosecute for me. I give you my trust, and I hope that I have yours too. I will always acknowledge my wrongs and keep fighting for a better future. I believe we are not that different in this. I'll trust you. Okay, you're correct. You know what? I'll trust you, Mr. Ricter, right now. For the time being. It means a lot coming from you. Anyway, if you ever want to discuss this topic further, free feel to call me. I don't have anything to hide. He stood up. I'll get going now, and if you'll excuse me, thanks for the meeting. He shook hands. It's nice of the president that we can finally have a dialogue with. He laughed. I'll see you in history books. Have a nice evening for now. And he left the room. Again, for the time being, I don't see any reason to antagonize him. Victory Day celebrations. Jen, the nationalist stronghold of Sordland, is gearing up for a massive celebration of Victory Day. According to the mayor, this year's festivities will be the biggest yet, with politicians from across the country, including the president, expected to attend. Victory Day, which commemorates the end of the Sordland Civil War, is celebrated throughout Sordland, but the largest and most extravagant celebrations always take place in the city of Enrica and Jen. According to the mayor, this year, even the Enricans will be in awe. The city, which has a long history of nationalism and militarism, uses the holiday to display its military might and patriotic fervor. This year's celebrations promise to be no different, with parades, fireworks, and speeches playing throughout the day. As always, there are concerns about the potential for violence, especially given the current political climate. But officials are confident that security measures will be sufficient to ensure a safe and successful event. And we met with Ricter. Sordland today has received an exclusive update about President Rayne's constitutional reform process. According to our insider reports, Rayne met today with PFJP heads Frens Ricter in an attempt to secure his party's vote in the assembly. This meeting could be an indication that the president is truly aiming for democratic reform, as opposed to paying lip service or using the opportunity to consolidate his own power. We will know more once the results of the meeting are announced. And at the party conference today, the PFG came out in support of Anton Rayne's constitutional changes. Leaders Frens Ricter announced that the proposal President Rayne had submitted to them met the party standards for democratic reform. It's time for our parties to stand together in order to make changes to our outdated constitution, said Ricter, calling his party members to give support to the proposal. Despite a complete show of support from the PFJP members, the group's deputy chairwoman, Mrs. Schuhel, protested Richter's call for bipartisanship and blamed the party leadership for handing Sordland to President Rayne on a silver platter. She was seen leaving a meeting during Richter's speech in protest. It's unclear whether the draft that will go out before the assembly is what Rayne's original one, or if it's been changed with Richter's input. It's also unclear if Mrs. Swell's protest will gather support within the party against the proposal. It is clear that the PFJP's votes, Rayne's chances success at passing the reforms to the assembly has just gotten a lot higher. So who are you? You are chairwoman of the PFJP, serving in the Grand National Assembly since 1949. Opposition to President Alfonso's government as an aggressive debater, yada yada yada. Staunch anti-Solist. Okay. Allegedly blackmailed numerous times by party leadership for her radical stances. So the progressive wing of our party and the progressive wing of the PFJP are both being dickheads about the proposal. Typical, typical, typical. What's going on in Wayland? Chief of the Armed Forces, Varlikin Kruger, reports that the Vasic Armed Forces are moving northwards towards the town of Vernon. On the way, many British villages were assaulted, and initial reports indicate a high death toll. As they approach closer to the border, Vesnek armies of movements will be observed closely. Many displaced refugees from the battles have been seen moving towards the Swedish borders. Okay, get me out of Wayland. Okay, so we have a report. At yesterday's party conference of the PFJP, Frens Ricter announced that he'll be giving his full support to the constitutional change proposed by the USP. Okay, very happy to see that. And another contract. The SSC, Underhall Construction, and Taurus Holding Companies have put forward their bids in the hope of winning the government contract for a new ambitious investment project. Oh, I don't even remember what they all did. I remember Sordland is the cheapest. They are the cheapest. And I'm broke. So we're going to go to the Swedish State Corporation again because I have no money. So we have one event in Vagland. I think that's literally the only thing we have to do. After a meeting with the rector and a brief tour of the University of Valgen, we gathered in a room with Sierra. The entire campus was visible from the windows. Students were reading books, studying, and having picnics under the trees. It reminded me of my own times in Dear University of Culture. At least, the more carefree moments. Reminiscing about your past? How are your university years? Ah, the usual stories, a few friends dead, a couple of them missing after the coups. Oh, and I almost was arrested once. No good memories? What for? We'll empathize, you know, we all went through tough times back then. Some of us more than others. Let's not get sidetracked. I want to start off by saying this. It was very positive to see the administration dedicate the funding that was requested. I am making sure the additional funds are being used in the best way possible in order to resolve structural issues. Speaking of, I want to thank you for allowing me to lead our education system in the right direction. By removing nationalist indoctrination and traditional teachings, we have unlocked the potential of the next generation. The students of now will thank us for the future, President Rayne, for we have unlocked the potential of critical thought the society desperately needed. In this way, you have surpassed all the leaders before you. You know what? You played a huge part in this too, Sierra. I'm optimistic about the path that lies ahead of us now. She nodded and brought out a stack of papers from her bag. Spinning her ballpoint pen, she went through the papers, organizing some of them together. Our ministry has prepared the necessary framework regarding how to spend our increased education budget. I've outlined 3 proposals. We can build new rural schools, improve the standards of existing ones, or increase salaries for all educational workers. We have the capacity to implement only one of these options. Okay, well, what about the plan to build new rural schools? This issue is very critical, as we are losing many young people to ignorance and illiteracy. Sordland's rural population is full of untapped potential. With enough education, these people could be an asset to our workforce and society. Look at how United Katana is pushing Pastor Casey in education and research. It's because most of the rural population has access to schools. Okay, what about increasing salaries for education workers? The job itself should be held in high regard and be compensated accordingly. These are the people who have chosen to dedicate themselves to the betterment of others, to helping them raise the next generation. We ought to give them what they deserve. Okay. What does improving rural schools entail? Where to start? At the very least, they need new equipment and materials. Many of these schools are facing a shortage of desks and textbooks. Some of them still haven't been updated since the Seoul administration. If teachers lack the resources to give Swordish youth a proper education, it can be as bad as if they don't go to school at all. Okay, I'm ready to decide. More rural schools. Improve. I'm leaning towards either 1 or 3. I'm just trying to think. Would we better have more schools or better schools? I'm leaning towards just building more. Because it's like... You know, yeah, let's build new rural schools. Our primary goal must be to increase access to education. It feels gratifying that we are finally serving the people directly. I'll pass it down to the ministry. That's all there is for now. I've talked to Miss Uno to schedule some time to discuss the curriculum. She's a very astute woman, your secretary. You may want to consider promoting her. We'll meet again very soon. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Sierra. Thank you, thank you. Okay, new assignment's been started. Is this, the seaport, right. I forgot that we paid money for that. Okay. What's going on in the CSP? The CSP Unity Conference, recently held in Gamland, marked a pivotal juncture in resolving the ideological dissonance within the Alliance. Gamland's influential leader, Brigdi Harvishditir, hosted the gathering amid a burgeoning climate of ideological disagreement, propelled by the Galmish Manifesto. This innovative interpretation of Carlos Mercius' communist theory, with its forces of decentralized planning and worker self-management, has stirred up an ideological storm within the CSP. While Voxlandian socialism, sharing similar decentralist sentiments, is seemingly more compatible with the Galmish Manifesto, they diverge notably in their stance on international cooperation. The manifesto leans towards a cautious approach, preferring to build a self-reliant economy, whereas Voxlandian socialism champions interdependence, seeing as a conduit for shared prosperity and security. The difference, albeit subtle, has led to real-world implications, such as like the instatement of trade tariffs between Galman and Voxland, demonstrating the impact of ideological dissidence on economic policies. The Unity Conference, despite the ideological contention, stressed the importance of common objectives, collective security, economic cooperation, and human rights. Okay, what do we else got going on over here? Divestment. What about in Hallisord? Okay, let's leave the justice report here. They have reviewed the Erson v. Sordland case and put it forward to a concurrent opinion before sending it to the Supreme Court. The Minister of Justice, Nia Morgana, came forward agreeing with the case of Ishvael Erson and pointed out that the majority court dissent would do disservice to a legal precedent of future constitutional right cases. Okay, Supreme Court is now handling that case. Situations. Accessible rural education, we happy to see it. We can now sell its shares in Ghostum with varying budgetary results. Given the financial landscape revealed by Ghostum report, the strategic decision on the divestment of our shares in Ghostum looms. It is now possible to consider selling an amount of our stake in the company to keep our shares potential future profit share. The future outcome will vary based on the active share price of the company. I think we want to go for sell 2/3, you need the money. I mean, sell 1/3, sell 2/3. I would like the thing is this doesn't tell me how much money I'm going to get. Like this is like +1, this is like +2. That would be nice to see. You know what? I'm all in, baby. I'm all in on the profit sharing. If you're not going to give me an exact number, I'm not going to do it. Okay. Today, the political motivated and controversial court case by Ishvael Erson has made its way to the Supreme Court to be reviewed. The governor of Bergia, Felix Braun, has dismissed the presence of systemic racism in the region of Bergia and accusations against his resettlement policies, citing that the British are being influenced by the BFF, who wish to radicalize the people for their dark aims. All eyes now are on Chief Justice Hawker and the Supreme Court to determine if the case has legal grounds or not. Many justices have already come forward to dispute the claim that the Constitution is not being upheld by the state of Sordland when it comes to the treatment of the British people. Okay, President Rayne has just announced a plan for the brand new port in Morna. As per the announcement, the SSC has been awarded the contract that they will be taking over the daunting task of transforming the city. Look, they're the cheapest options, okay? When Valiant President Viktor Smolak continues his operation against the British insurgents in the country, a wave of people, Wejnik, Sordish, and British, have been attempting to flee the conflict and cross the border in the Sordlands. According to the reports of the Alliance of Nations, the situation inside Valiant is becoming increasingly complex, with many different groups and factions entering and leaving the country. The AN report states that international reporters are no longer being allowed inside Valen, and the information from the country is becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. It also explicitly warns the neighboring countries of the upcoming refugee crisis. It remains to be seen how the Rayne administration will deal with the influx. My glasses are a little bit dirty, but I don't have a cloth to clean them, unfortunately. What's going on in the radical case? Okay. The fearless British lawyer and civil rights activist has taken on Governor Felix Braun in a high-stakes lawsuit that challenges the systemic oppression of the British community in Sordland. Ayrton has filed a case in the Court of Appeals against Governor Braun for violating the constitutional right of equality before the law, also arguing that Article 6 and 7 of the Constitution are in conflicts with the right of the people defined in Article 100. He argues that the special zone and Braun's policies, including the unjust resettlement order, infringes upon the right of property of the British citizens and violates their rights as citizens of Sordland. Now, in a glimmer of hope, the Supreme Court has accepted to review the case. But let it be real. When has justice ever been served in this country? We have seen the government oppress the British people for far too long, and we cannot expect anything different from the corrupt judicial system with Orson Hawker as the Chief Justice. And the blood-thirsty dictator Viktor Smolak is at it again with his endless operations against the so-called terrorists as he keeps carpet-bombing villages composed of innocent civilians. According to the latest reports, the number of Vesnek Bloods displaced in the operation is at least 100,000. They become refugees, seeking help from nearby countries. Stuck between Rumburg, Lespi, and Sordland, most of them are choosing our country. We must help these innocent people in the name of humanity, or no one else will. President Rayne has done well with not even accepting the trade deal with a rogue country like Valen. We all know the saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm okay being a little bit broken. In my run, I accidentally banned the radical. I mean, it is less reading. It is less reading, so that maybe it's not a bad idea. United Katana's grip on the media landscape continues to tighten, casting shadow of doubt over the genuineness of the information emanating from the UC informational space. The People's Daily Tribune, once hailed for its objective reporting, has experienced a 50% drop in its content distribution due to the stringent censorship. Recent laws enacted have further constrained independent journalism, leading to the self-censorship among reporters. In contrast, Vaxland's media sector displays slightly greater openness, although not without its challenges. Geopolitical's recent investigation into the alleged human rights abuses in southern Kotana, particularly in Yerzistan and Slovaria, face heavy restrictions and controlled narratives. The Red Unity Chronicle has also shed light on the case from Zolotek, which disappeared from public view within hours. As majority of UC becomes increasingly skeptical of state-guided media narratives, the clamor for transparency and genuine reporting continues to grow.